Hey everyone, it's Morrah with Moonshine, and I'm here today to show you guys how to clean your bearings. Cleaning goes a long way, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. I'm just going to show you quickly how to pop out a bearing. It's easiest to use your little axle here and kind of flip your wheel forward that the bearing pops off. The first thing that you want to do when you're cleaning your bearings is to take off this cover. It could be a different color on your bearings, but obviously you need to expose the bearings in order to clean them. So I like to use a pin for this part, picking at the edge of this to get it off. Another tool that you could use would be like an X-Acto knife, some sort of something sharp that you can get under the edge with. At the same time, you want to be really careful that you're not warping this while you're pulling it off, or like denting it, bending it. You can actually end up pinching the bearings afterwards. And again, just from the edge, so you're not warping that cover. Now that you've got the bearing covers off and you have all of the bearings exposed, I like to use a little bowl for this part because it's a bit of a spray. The first thing you're going to want to do is degrease whatever is going on in there. So dirt, everything like that, it'll wash it out. I use this degreaser, whatever works. I mean, read the label. If it's meant for like metal and degreasing bearings, things like that, great. So I usually take off all my bearings at once and put them in the bowl all at once so I can clean all of them at once and not waste so much product. So I degrease it like this. It kind of spritz in the bowl. You can even, if your bearings are really bad, you can let them sit in the solution for like a little bit. Once they've had a chance to sit, you do want to kind of spin your bearing around like this so the degreaser has a chance to get into everything. Once you're done degreasing, you do want to get most of that degreaser off of it before you're re-greasing. It's not a big deal if you don't get all of it, but I just tend to like to kind of pat it dry like this. Give it a little squeeze with some paper towel. Again, you can spin it, clean it. The next step is going to be greasing it again. So I take another bowl and I would put all of my bearings in here once I've degreased them. And then I take this silicone lubricant. You can use really any type of lubricant. Again, it's like a read the label type of thing. I know this one is geared specifically for bearings and metal, right on the label. The other one that I've used is a white lithium grease, and that's great as well. Again, read the label. I would avoid things like WD-40. I know a lot of people think that's what it's for, but when it comes to actual skate bearings, they dry your bearings out. It's meant to like clean and get rid of the dirt. So it's not necessarily for the longevity of like a smooth ride. Again, you can let that sit if you want. You spin it a little bit so that all the bearings get coated. And this time, when you're cleaning up your bearing, instead of patting the whole thing dry, I just kind of like to get the outside edge, because you don't want to remove all of the silicone lubricant that you've just put into the bearing itself. You want that to stay in there. So once you got it running nice and smooth, you wipe the outside just a tiny bit, you're ready to put your bearing covers back on. And again, don't pinch them, just from the outside so it's not warping them at all. And just lightly, very lightly press them in. And once you get your bearing covers back in, you can give it another little spin, disperse all the lubricant in there. And then I give it another little wipe on the outside before I pop it back in my wheel, put it on. Easy to do on your axle. So we're just gonna pop that in there. Got a bearing spacer with my set of bearings. So I put that on, I put my next clean bearing on. Don't forget all the little components of your board when you're putting them back together. The little washers, everything else. And put it all back together. I'm gonna use my skate tool just to tighten it up. And that is that. She's nice and smooth, and you're ready to go ride again.